I really enjoyed doing the role play. I was nervous to start with, but once I knew what I was doing, I was fine. I thought it was a really good way of doing it because so people can actually see how the role play is, because that is to do with this role play today. A lot of people have similar stories to this, but also, to be honest, I found my carrier, the person I was playing, which was Lucy, actually I feel it's true to me, because I found that I didn't understand at trustee meetings. I found it hard with the jargon. But now I've done my 2 days, I find I'm now beginning, so I am reapplying to be a trustee again. Get rid of a lot of the jargon and explaining more about what a trustee's role is going to be beforehand. Also when you're there, when you're attending meetings, maybe keep going on looking at your roles so you know what the roles are. And it's good to have a lot more young trustees on board so that they can give their experiences and help to make the future a better place.
We're trying to develop our accounts to make them more accessible for our trustees. The way we're doing that is we're trying to present them in a more visual format. So we might, for instance, use a pie chart to show how we spend our money. This then makes sure that all trustees understand the information and more encourage them to ask the right questions.
Our workshop looked at succession planning, why it's important, why you need to get the right people on your board to lead your organisation. I think my top tip to take away from the workshop would be to plan. It's essential, especially in these kind of economic times, that people plan for their future. So making sure that you've got the right people on the board, that you can still have the right people on the board as you move forward, whether that's different people or continuous appointments, then it's essential that you plan and that you move forward in the direction that you want to take your organisation, and you've got the right people to do that.
The top tip that I think I'd like delegates to take away from the workshop I was involved with is really that trustees need the time to have a bit of self-reflection. I think quite often the reason why there are problems on a board is that people haven't really taken the time in their busy lives to think about whether the systems are working for them and for their fellow board members. So that means things like looking whether their governing document is fit for purpose, and thinking about things like, are the meetings at a time that would really be attractive to other people, and is everything running in a way which is best for our charity? When people take the time to answer some of those questions, I really think it makes a difference.
The workshop that I did this morning was talking about renewable energy as a way of investment for community organisations, charities. So getting them to think about the different ways that they could use renewable energy as a way of getting perhaps grant funding or as an income generator for themselves. The thing that I'd really like people to take away and to carry on thinking is think big, think outside the box really. I want them to take their idea and to go to developers with it, who are running community benefit funds or whoever they want the money from, and to really just sell that idea and not to restrict themselves. There's a lot of money that's on offer there, and they need to think about how they can access that.
Well, we're introducing Robert Owen Community Bank banking fund that's linked with the Community Energy Fund through Community Energy Wales. And what we're doing is trying to help community groups, charities, develop their resources in the energy sector so they can get an income stream for 20 years index-linked guaranteed from feed-in tariff or renewable heat incentive. Well, I'd love to share with you some of the examples of where we've been able to help communities through renewable energy. I mean, we always start with energy efficiency. We check that they're energy efficient. That's the starting point. But then to have a 20-year income stream from developing a community-owned renewable energy scheme is quite exciting. For example, the Friends of Taff Bargoed up at Treharris, they developed their hydro scheme now, so they know they can fund the park at Taff Bargoed for the next 20 years. There's also the Calon Land Centre in Llangyfelach in Swansea. It's an old chapel, 16th century, rich history, can't be used at the moment because it's too cold and it's too expensive to heat. We're converting that to an energy efficient building that's going to be warmed and heated by renewable energy. Rugby clubs wasting money on lighting, we're there to help them to develop LEDs, low energy lighting, to lower their energy bills so they can spend their money on the community. And there are many other projects with hydro, wind, PVs, energy efficiency, and this is where we come in. We give advice, guidance, we can even fund the projects and take all the risk out of it for them.
So our workshop was called How to Protect Your Charity, and it covered charities' assets, purposes and beneficiaries. And we identified 4 key areas to help trustees protect their charities. So the first was know your responsibilities. Trustees need to understand that they are jointly responsible for managing a charity, furthering its purpose and looking after its beneficiaries. The second area was having good financial controls. So segregation of duties, don't leave everything to one person, having clear policies on things like expenses, having clear financial records and making them accessible. The third area we focused on was ensuring good governance, so knowing where your governing document is and following it, having clear procedures, being open and transparent, taking advice when appropriate. And lastly, we looked at the charity's reputation. Reputation is vital to success of a charity, so it also needs protecting. So think about how things look from the outside and who you're associated with. Sort out disagreements as early as possible, and make sure you treat the reputation as important as the charity's other assets.